Hey guys, it's Vilain, and today we are back with another Real Talk, and this time we're going to be a little bit more lighthearted, alright? As you guys can see in the background, we are playing Heroes of the Storm, which, if I'm actually just playing it for the D.Va skin. Who the fuck am I kidding? Honestly, it's for the D.Va skin. I'm doing the Nexus 2.0 challenge, just like pretty much everyone else who plays Overwatch is. So, I mean, I want the skins, I want the free stuff, so you can see me, you can catch me in Heroes of the Storm. If you guys want, you can show me in Discord, you can see whenever I'm playing, and you guys can jump in at any point, really. I don't mind. So, all that being said, guys, let's talk about what we're going to talk about this episode, which is, like I said, a lot more lighthearted. This time, I was given a suggestion by my girlfriend, which I thought was a really good one. And it was, if I was given superpowers, if I was given all sorts of crazy imaginative powers or whatever the fuck, would I be a villain or would I be a hero? And I think that's a really fun question that I would love to answer with you guys. So let's talk about it for a second. First off, if we were to be given powers, what powers would they be? Well, I honestly think for me it would probably be more of powers of like teleportation. If I got 3, teleportation would definitely be one, for sure, because I'd love to be able to teleport in and out of shit, just freely, just poof, oh, I'm over here, poof, I'm over there, poof, oh, I'm out here. Like, I think that'd just be really fun, really cool. Honestly, I'd have a great time with that one. I think it'd be really, really dope. So, I mean, that honestly, if I got to choose, that would definitely be like one of my #1 choices for a power. If I got a second power, I think it honestly would. This is where stuff starts to get hard, because teleportation is always one of my go-tos when it comes to like the question of what powers would you want if you got any powers. Teleportation. But if I got to switch up into any other powers, I would definitely want the ability of transformation, to be able to transform, into different things, to change parts of my body, like almost like a fluid body, where I can like make my it'd be really dope where I could like change my where I could have like my hand turn into a fork or something, like random stuff like that. And I'd hope that my clothes are a part of that as well, because honestly that would probably be the best thing for me, because I'd love to teleport and then teleport behind someone and change and have a hat on. It's like, well, I guess this is a little bit awkward, isn't it? I'd be a huge troll with it. And so I definitely want a power that would allow me to transform myself. So teleportation and the power of transformation, those are my first 2. And then what else would come with that? And this would probably be the only one that would actually, you know, this is the only one that wouldn't be just to troll people, and that would be more of not really super strength, but like a knowledge of the human body, like a knowledge of the human body vast enough that a single hit takes down that I can have single hits take down my opponents, or single hits like put them in intense pain and drop them, you know what I'm saying? Like that would probably be the third one. And I know all of these are very, very like specified, they seem, but I think it really plays into what I would want to be. And I think it in and of itself, if that hasn't shown a little bit of what I would prefer to be, I think honestly it shows a lot. I think honestly, if anybody chooses what their 3 powers are, you can kind of get a good grasp of where they would like to stand, and if not, you can understand their thought process a little bit better. And this is getting a little psychological right now, but at this moment, just type in your 3 choices. I'll give you like, I don't know, like 10 seconds or 20 seconds and pause the video, but like drop what your 3 powers would be, and then we'll go into the next part of the video. So, you know, like 5-10 seconds left. Alright, so now that you've dropped your answer down below, like, if you look at it, and if you were to tell me whether you would be a villain or a hero, I'm pretty sure that it kind of makes sense from whatever you're being given right now. Like, whatever you gave me for your answer for what powers you'd want, it kind of makes sense. It's like, if you have super strength, the ability to break down walls with your fucking, just your regular strength, and like things like that, it's like, well, I kind of want to be a villain because I want to be able to destroy shit, you know? Or like, I feel, or maybe the way that you word it might be the better thing to say that it shows a little bit. And that's just an interesting thing for me, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, for me, I don't think being a hero. I mean, let's talk about the aspect of hero versus villain. And this is a little bit more of a creator's thought of it, all right? And for a hero, they are someone fighting to keep a status quo. They're fighting to keep a status quo, or fighting to keep a thought process that people cherish, like to keep it around, if that makes sense. Captain America fights for American ideals, the ability for everyone to be free, the ability for everyone to make their own choices. That's what he chooses. That's what he fights for. Versus, versus, I'm trying to think of a good villain that would be a good counterpart for that. But a good villain, like a villain, fights for either a change because they believe in that change, or to be a counter to another massive power that is good, if that makes sense. And I guess here actually Batman and Joker also kind of work a little bit better. While Batman is being the embodiment of good, or doing evil for good, if that makes sense, because he's still a vigilante. He's still breaking the law technically, but he fights for the ability to be able to. Now he fights for the ability to clean up crime. He fights criminals, so he's a criminal fighting criminals, if that makes sense. Versus Joker is pure destruction, which is he hurts everybody. He hurts everyone to be the counter to Batman fighting for everybody, if that makes sense. And that's a yin and yang type thing, and you guys can't see it, but I'm doing like the yin and yang symbol with my hands as if you can see that, because that's how I work, and that's how my brain works. But honestly, if you were to take a look at most of the villains, this is where the psychology part of this comes in, I guess. But most villains don't think of themselves as villains, and that might be a little, for anyone who's not into isn't like into the comics or whatever, they might be like, what do you mean they don't see themselves as villains? They're obviously the one doing harm to a bunch of people. But even like Darth Vader and them, they want to unify the entire universe under them. They want to unify all of them under the I don't remember the name. Pretty much they want to unify all of them under the dark side. And the counter to them, their villains, the villains, I know that's a little bit of a twist, are the Jedis. So at what point, so that's where things come into play. Like, if you look at any villain, either they're doing it for, most of them are doing it to change something that they think is wrong into a right, or change something into a better world that they see fit. Or some of them are just the counters to a big power, which just kind of comes as a balance of power type thing. But like, those are farther and fewer in between. But like, for Superman being the great big like fantastic person that he is, who's always good and always fantastic and always a great person, Lex Luthor fights him all the time, even though technically speaking Superman would love to be cool with Lex. But the reason Lex Luthor constantly fights Superman is because he sees Superman as a threat to all of humanity, because of the fact that he is alien, he is far too powerful to be by himself, and Lex Luthor would want to beat Superman so that he knows that, so that Superman can realize, or he wants Superman to know that humans don't technically need him. They are very self-sufficient, so he isn't better than them. He wouldn't be able to take over if he just wanted to one day. Even though technically speaking, Superman really could. Like, let's be honest. If he really wanted to, Superman could take over. But Lex Luthor says, no, 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 he can't. And that's the reason Lex Luthor is one of Superman's biggest rivals. It's not because he hates good. It's because he thinks there might be an ulterior motive. Which then that becomes, is he a villain or is he a hero? And I know that might be a little bit of a weird thing, but just in general, at what point is a person a villain versus at what point is somebody a hero? Like, I can call myself whatever I want, honestly. Like, there are people who call themselves all sorts of things, and whether they are or are not, you don't really argue it, because it's like, well, I can't really tell you what you are and aren't. You know what I'm saying? But as far as a hero and a villain, the only big difference is whose side you're on, more or less, half the time. Half the time it's just whose side do you end up being on, and then the other part is who's it's like who's telling the story. And to bring this back into real life just a little bit, there's a old quote that says history is written by the winners. Sorry about that. I was had a bit of a coughing fit. But history is there's an old quote that says history is written by the winners. And if you look at any history book, it's kind of clear that that's exactly what happens. When World War II happened, and we were fighting we fought Nazis, and we were fighting Nazis for, you know, all the good reasons that there are to fight Nazis. Most of the German people didn't see themselves as the villains. They saw themselves as the heroes making the world a better place by purging the world of Jews. And that's as morbid and crazy as that is to us. If they had won, we wouldn't think it. We wouldn't have thought that. In a parallel universe where the Nazis ended up winning, they thought it was the best thing ever. That blonde hair, blue eyes people are obviously the best. You know what I'm saying? But we think that that's horrible now. But that's kind of because we were trained that it was not. Like, we were taught that we were the better ones for not doing so. Which I'm honestly, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, let's play devil's advocate for them. No, I'm not playing any devil's advocate. I'm just saying, just in general, if you look at it from their side, they thought they were right. But now looking at it from our side, we're like, fuck no, that wasn't right. But why are we saying that? It's because we won. If they had won, this would be a whole different story. And this is some parallel universe type shit, but like, just think about that for any big battle that ever took place and any big thing that you ever seen in history. If you look at it, if there was a big war, the winner tells how it happened and why it happened. And if we lose the war, either we can try to skew it to be our way, or we could or the winner ends up having to write what happened. And I think one of my favorite examples of how history and heroes and villains in history is the 4th of July. That's what I don't know why I couldn't think of it. The 4th of July. All right, so here in America, we celebrate the 4th of July as the day we got our independence, and we were freed from oppression of the British rule. How great we are. America, yeehaw, guns in the air, you know, so great. But, comma conjunction, Britain doesn't see it as such a great day. They see it as a day the United States rebelled against the British rule, and they decided that they were more than self-sufficient, and then they lost and went into their own tragedy. Honestly, more or less, that's how it's written. I don't know the exacts because obviously I don't read British. I haven't read the British history, but like more or less, they don't see it as we won our independence because we totally deserved it. They don't say that. They don't say that. And I know I have at least one viewer who lives in the UK who can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't say that. They didn't like, well, you know, those Americans, they did deserve their independence. I'm pretty sure that's not how that went down. And honestly, the entirety of that war, if you look at it, it's two different stories from two different people, and that's one of the few examples that we can easily tell. There are tons of examples throughout history of who was the hero, who was the villain, and then the winner ends up being the hero every time, it seems like. There are very few times in history, there are a couple, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are a couple times where both the very, very fabric of what happened was completely based off of, this is a horrible, horrible idea. Like, I want to be a villain. Very few people just say, I want to be a villain. Stalin killed millions and millions of his own people. Joseph Stalin, the leader of Russia, killed millions and millions of people. And he is still known as a great ruler and no worse than Hitler. For some reason, people don't think he's worse than Hitler. Because he did it for his people. He kept uprisings down. He did this, he did that. So, like, that's just honestly, at what points does someone become a villain? Is it the means that justify, the ends, or the ends that justify the means? It's a question that often is brought up, but if we think about it, will we be the heroes or villains clause that we're talking about here? Are they heroes or are they villains? Some of them are very renowned. I just listened to a history piece from Extra History on the Extra Credits channel, and they did a piece on Catherine the Great, the leader of Russia back in the I don't remember the time period. Whatever the fuck, you can look it up. But Catherine the Great, you know Catherine the Great, and history is really written by those who win. Like, for Catherine the Great, she is given all sorts of praise for doing all sorts of great things. She's also, don't get me wrong, there are criticisms out there. You can look and find some criticisms of everything out there. If you look hard enough, there are some, except in certain places, a lot of it gets burned. Like, in Korea and China, they will sometimes just be like, nope, and they will just burn anything that speaks negatively. It's weird. It's crazy. If you look up Admiral Yi, he has only one real good. He's only got one book really that criticizes himself, and it's the book that he wrote on himself. It's his own diary. So that's just interesting fact. But like most places, you can find the criticisms if you look hard enough. But the main thing that's taught and sent through the generations is the thing of positivity about whatever the winner did. Catherine the Great is looked at as a fantastic, fantastic ruler. She took over the land from her very, very ill, not fit to lead husband, who was honestly the heir. Like he earned the throne when his mom died. His mom died and left the throne to him, but he was completely ill-suited. He pretty much had the brains of a child. Like, he was a horrible, horrible leader by most people's standards. And when Catherine rose up, she had everybody on her side. She had all of the townspeople. I say townspeople as if, you know, Russia's just one giant town. She had all of the church behind her, the main church of Russia. She had all of the government people behind her. She had all of the big people who did the merchants behind her. Like, everyone was behind her when she took over. Even the army was behind her, and they were all like, yes, get rid of that buffoon. He's horrible. He caused so much horrible, like so many horrible things to the entire country. But here's where the flip side comes on. There's someone wrote a book. I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember who it was by, but there was a book that was written about her Catherine the Great's first husband, the one that she was married to that she took the throne from. And it was like the idea that maybe he was a liberal, he was a very liberal person in a world of a lot of very, very conservative people. And he was trying to change things for the liberal, like he was trying to change things for the better. He was trying to make a lot of liberal strides, but he was just killed. He was just taken out before his time. That's why he couldn't, any of his goodwill wasn't done to fruition. It was because he was found and killed way earlier than he should have been, and that's why he didn't make it. Like that's why Catherine the Great took over, because she was a very conservative person in a country where everyone thought that the ruler was too liberal, that's the reason that that's the reason he didn't get to keep the throne. But that's only one book out of 100,000 other books that talk about how great Catherine the Great is in her position, and how she wrote, and how she was like one of the better people. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't get me wrong, they also take some stabs at Catherine the Great, but at the same time, no one ever tries to say, God, that the Tsar before her, great dude, was good. He was really good. No one says that because they don't believe it, but they also might not. They may have very well have hated him in the time. I don't think that they probably didn't, but no one will really know, because who won and who got the right of writing the way that she was left, like her legacy was left. You know what I'm saying? She left her legacy the way she wanted it, because she won. And you can think about that for a lot of different times in history. But that brings us back to the question that started this entire discussion: hero or villain? If I was able to get my 3 powers of choice, my ability to teleport, change my appearance, how I feel, and to know the bodies of my opponents, to be able to take them down with ease, would I be a hero? Would I be a villain? And with all this talk, it's a question of how do you see it? For me, I'm not even gonna lie, I'd probably just be an anti-hero. There would be times I'd use it for great gain for myself, but there would also be times where I'd use it for fucking around. Honestly, that'd be probably more so my thing. Like, it'd be great gain for me, but no one else would really be affected. It's like, why the fuck? Someone stop him? And like, I'd be annoying to others. So then there would probably be someone who would, if they got their 3 powers of choice, might use their powers to just try to fuck me and fuck up my day, and in turn I'd try to fuck their day up. And now it's a yin and yang. You see what I'm saying? Then it's the question of who's telling the story. I mean, if you ask my mom, would you consider him a hero or a villain? He's a hero. He always does so well to make sure that others get what they need and blah blah blah. But then if you talk to someone who, you know, just saw me screwing stuff up, he's a villain. He's a menace. He's going around. He's doing these horrible, horrible things. He obviously needs to be put down. So then, the question then comes down to: is he a hero or a villain? Which am I? Honestly, if I had to choose, I wouldn't be either. I'd be an anti-hero. I'd do my own thing. I'd be doing things for my own gain most of the time. But at the same time, I would definitely stand up for people when they needed it. If you know what I'm saying. Like, if I saw someone about to be like beaten up in an alley, I'm stepping back there. I'm teleporting. Excuse me, governor, and then knocking him the fuck out. hit him in the throat one time. Oh wow, look, that was easy. Cool. So and then walking away. It's like, oh, you're good. He's gonna be down there for a while. You got some time to, you know, get your stuff back. Maybe kick him in the dick if you feel like it. You know, like, it'd be so great if I had the powers. That's how I'd use them. But then that's the question of, am I a hero or am I a villain? I'm honestly would be an anti-hero, and that's totally fine with me, and I'm okay being that dick who finds the middle ground. But I definitely wouldn't be a hero, but I also wouldn't be a villain. I should probably have switched that. I definitely wouldn't have been a villain, but I definitely won't be a hero either. So, I don't know. If I was given the ability to be a super powered human, I don't know which one I don't know which way I'd really fall, but at the same time, would it matter? I'll leave this one last thought. Batman is a superhero who's given shit by his own book. You know what I'm saying? Like, his own books give him shit. Like, the people in his town, he is getting rid of all of these thugs and putting them in jail and blah blah blah. But he is a vigilante. He's not following the law in doing so. He's never. So, like, all the time, what ends up happening is that the cops are like, we have to take you down, dude. You're not doing things by the law. But then he's like, nah, I'm gonna do what I do. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna help you out. It's like, well, you're still breaking the law. You're still, it's like, it's illegal, but not illegal. So he's a hero, but to a lot of people, he's also a villain. He's literally a topic of conversation in certain Batman novels. If you look, people are literally saying, so about this Batman, do you think he's good or do you think he's bad? I think he's horrible. I think he's a menace to society. Really? I don't know. He saved my grandma the other day. You know, it's an entire battle, and that's Batman. Dude literally fights because his parents were killed, and he wants to make sure no one else has to go through that type of trauma that he went through. He doesn't always do a great job, but I love him anyway. But that's beside the point. Guys, what would you do if you were given superpowers? Would you be a hero? Would you be a villain? Do you think it matters? Who's your favorite person in history who took the W or took the L and was really erased? Like, I would love to know. Honestly, like I said, Catherine the Great, I just got to learn her history, and it's really, really interesting, and I thought she was really cool. Admiral Yi is another person who I think definitely took the W and ran with it. To this point, he's a folktale. So Admiral Yi, I would definitely suggest looking up his story and looking up the type of stuff that he did. Honestly, there's so many great people who I feel like didn't get. There were so many people who I feel were wiped because they didn't take the W. Like, the theology behind them may have been completely wiped just because they didn't take the W. Or there was a lot of people who took the W and ran with it farther than it technically should have gone. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me and my thoughts on it, and that's me somehow combining history and geeky nerdy shit because I can fucking do that. Guys, like I said, the gameplay in the background has been Heroes of the Storm. If you guys enjoyed that, I am probably going to be playing it at least until the Nexus event is over. So if you guys want to ever join, make sure that you guys join my Discord. I kind of jump on pretty randomly, and you guys can feel more than welcome to ask me to join you. There's open chat, so you guys can come talk to me and have a good time. If you guys want to join the Discord, the link is down in the description below. So is all my other social media. Be sure that if you guys enjoy, you like, you subscribe, you share. I would love to have more people to talk to this type of stuff with. It'd be a really fun time. Guys, this has been Perlane. This has been another Real Talk. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.